Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're just taking a look at my Chevy Volt here and kind of explaining what the range of the vehicle does on just pure electric power when the temperatures get cold. So it's November, I believe the 18th today, and the temperature is pretty cold. There's frost on the ground here. It's been cold for about a month now, where you get your temperatures at night into the upper 20s, lower 30s, maybe lower 40s if you're lucky, and the daytime temps now are in the upper 30s and lower 40s. So I want to touch on this, and we all know that in the cold weather, the batteries on electric vehicles just don't last as long because you're running the heater, the batteries are working harder, you know, they are susceptible to cold weather and hot weather. You know, it could be an extreme of 0 degrees or 90 degrees, it doesn't matter. But batteries just typically don't do as well in cold weather. And I could say the same for my trail cameras that I use for hunting that are out in the woods right now. They just don't last as long when the temperatures drop below, we'll just say 45 degrees. And that goes for the same of the Chevy Volt. So in the spring, summer, and fall, when the temperatures are decent, you know, anywhere between 55 degrees, 60 degrees plus, all the way up to about that 90 degree, 85 to 90 degree temperature point here, the batteries on this Volt are excellent. You know, I can get about 35 miles per charge with the roads that I drive, which are mainly back country, you know, roads where the speed limit is 55. And for the most part, I get good range with that, about 35 miles, like I said. Now, when the temperature drops, that's when I see a huge decrease, especially in the estimated range. So with the estimated range in the summertime, spring, summer, fall, when temperatures are good, again, anywhere 55 degrees plus, I'm seeing an estimated range of right around 35 miles to a charge. And right now, when the temperature drops, I'm seeing that number at 24 to 25 miles per range. And occasionally when I do run out the range, that number will be less, anywhere between 20 to 21, 22 miles per charge. So it's quite interesting to see when the batteries start to get cold, how much the range drops. And because this car is hybrid, you know, I've got that gas generator up front, I'm not too worried about it because I've always got that gas generator backup. But if you have just a pure electric vehicle, and now let's just say you were able to get 300 miles out of a full charge, now that number is going down to about 200 miles because, you know, you are using the heated seats now, you're using the heater on full blast, and you're using all the other accessories, heated steering wheel, stuff like that, to keep you warm. So that is just something to note. And not a lot of testing has been done on the Chevy Volt, or opinions have been done on the Chevy Volt for its wintertime battery strength or battery power, which or life, I should say. And usually on my drive into work, it's about a 20-minute drive. I usually make it here in the summertime with well over a half a battery pack left of charge. And right now, I am going to make it from a full charge, which this morning was about 24 miles of estimated range it said I had. Right now, I will be lucky to make it to work on a half charge left. So it's just interesting to note that the battery just doesn't hold up as well, especially in this older Gen 1 Chevy Volt when it does get cold. My Volt has 78,000 miles on it. But otherwise, I mean, the Volt has been good. I did expect a loss in battery range here in the winter time. Now I'm really curious to see what happens when the temperatures drop well below zero, how the battery will hold up then and how the heater will hold up then, because again, the heater just requires so much additional power to run it that if you have the engine running, it's not a big deal. But when you're running just on pure battery power, you're using a lot of that extra battery power just for the heater itself, which is interesting. It's interesting that even in today's technology, they haven't really figured out a way to pull heat off of the battery in order to heat the cabin up, with the exception of, I believe, Tesla does that, but I could be wrong. So just interesting to note that. Right now I'm at about half of my battery power left. It's 28 degrees, and it's definitely not too cold by any means. It's cold, but it's not overly cold. But definitely the coldest I've owned this Volt, and it's interesting to see how the battery is going down. Now it's 27. This will be my first winter with the Volt. I bought it in April, so I didn't have to deal with any of these super cold temperatures. So right now we're at about 14 miles of range left. Looking at the energy info here, we've used 8.1 total miles, so that will put us at about that 20 to 22 range on battery power. And one other thing to note here, so I'm curious to see in the wintertime, now I have noticed even from the summer an uptick in total energy cost. So right now it's costing me about $70 a month because of the colder weather in October, and now it will be about the same in November. In the summer it was about $50 to $60 per month to charge this vehicle and run it. That's very, very, very good. Now, even at $60 to $70 a month, that's still very, very, very good. If you add on the extra maybe $20, $30 worth of gasoline that you're going to put into this vehicle, that at least I do with the extra driving that I do. But I find it pretty standard right now to get that 21 to 22 miles of charge, which honestly, guys, for 2013, that's very good for now in today's technology. Not the greatest, but it still holds its own with other brands that offer the plug-in hybrid option in their vehicles. Now, the Gen 2 Volt is kind of the Volt to have because it offers almost 50 miles of electric-only range with its battery pack in perfect conditions. So I'd be curious to see what that does in this colder weather. Now, I do have the defrost on full bore right now. One thing also I have to note about the Volt in cold weather is that if you leave it on the auto setting, it just doesn't really know what to do. Whether you leave it in eco or comfort mode, it doesn't know what to do. So you're always having to fiddle around with it from auto mode to put it to hands and face, or to put it to defrost, or feet, whatever. You almost have to manually control it because that's better than just putting it in auto mode. It doesn't propel as much heat or cooling as you want in auto mode. So right now we're at 12 miles left of range. We've got 10 miles so far, and we've used 51 cents. And going back to the charging here, one other thing I want to note. I often could charge this vehicle on just the standard, let me see here, just the standard 8 amp reduced charging. Right now I'm basically charging this on 12 amps maximum charge all the time in order to drive this vehicle with any sort of battery range. Because I do drive this vehicle a lot. It sits at work though for the typical work day. Right now I own a golf course, so my workload in the wintertime is less, so I do get the 8 hours of charging during the day. In the summertime it's more like 10 to 15 hours, so that does help charging it on a lower amperage than right now. But because this is using so much battery power, I am having to charge on that 12 amp maximum charge speed because it takes so long on the lower amperage to charge it. All right. Overall, though, I'm very happy with the Volt. I wish there was a little bit more battery range on it, but for the price I bought this vehicle at $7,200 before the tax rebate, which I will be getting this, when I file my taxes in 25, that'll come out to be about $2,400. I do get 30% of the total purchase price, so I have it calculated. This vehicle cost me about $5,200 after the tax rebate, so more like $2,000-ish. Not bad at all. Especially when I bought it with 68,000 miles. I have officially put on 10,500 miles on the Volt since I bought it, so I have done quite a bit of driving considering my circumstances here, and that doesn't include the other vehicles that I own as well. So I tend to do a lot of driving during the year, just mainly for my business. Now as we're approaching work here, I've got 11 miles left and the battery bar just went below half. So we have driven here 12.4 miles. It's about 13 miles to work, 13 back. A lot of back roads, like I said. So we have reached our destination here. And we have spared 11 miles of supposed range left. We've used 12.9 miles of total range and 11 miles left, which I predict that to be a little bit lower than the predicted range here. So we're right around the ballpark of 20 to 22, 23 miles. When it does get colder, I've got 26 degrees right now, just to show you what we're at. Like I said, I've been impressed with the Volt. We've got 11 miles of supposed range left, and we have used 12.9 total miles. 57 cents of energy has been used. But overall, the Volt's been good here. As you can see, it is very cold outside right now, and the Volt looks good. But anyway, guys, I figured I would just do this quick video here to kind of show you how the Volt does when the temperatures get cold. This is very pertinent information. I love doing tests on the Volt like this because it is just such a pertinent car to today's world that we live in. So with that being said, guys, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.